What an atmosphere. It's a red letter day. Two global snooker superstars ready to go toe-to-toe once again for one of the sport's most coveted prizes, the final of the UK Championship. They've already bagged this trophy 10 times between them. Who is going to prevail today over the best of 19 frames? The mutual respect is extremely evident from everything they've said in the build-up to this showpiece. And we're ready to go. It's 8 frames this afternoon, a possible 11 this evening. Ronnie O'Sullivan looking to better his own record and win an 8th title. Ding Junhui, runner-up last year, a 4th.
Thank you. The first frame. Ding Junhui to break.
Three times champion Ding Junhui to get us underway. One of the biggest days on the snooker calendar, Dominic.
Yes, indeed. Good afternoon, everybody. Really looking forward to this final here at the York Barbican, the final of the 2023 UK Championships. The respective form of both of these players suggests a very close and tense final.
One.
And what a great start from Ronnie O'Sullivan. First look at a long red, in it goes, beautifully on the black, to develop the two reds just next to the black.
O'Sullivan has described his overall performances this week as patchy, but his long game has been very consistent throughout. A return of nearly 3 out of 4, 73% for the tournament. That is excellent. And he's been able to be clinical in the key moments. Ding Junhui has had to battle through a number of rounds. He's shown real resilience and determination. O'Sullivan, in particular, yesterday, ruthless in punishing Hossein Vafai's potting mistakes after the interval from 2-all, as he won 4 straight frames to set up this final.
9.
Only once has he been defeated in the UK Championship title match. Mark Selby, 2016, 10-7.
14.
Left himself a bit of a tester here, Ronnie, because he cannoned into a red. They tried to avoid, and we saw Judd Trump yesterday in that 10th frame, I think it was, miss a red very similar to this because it just grazed the near jaw.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 14.
It always looked just a little while. So, the great long red not amounting to much for O'Sullivan with his first visit. O'Sullivan has a very handsome lead in the overall head-to-head. He's won 19 of their 24 matches, but the victories that Ding has had over O'Sullivan have been very significant, not least last season here in the quarterfinals when he whitewashed Ronnie O'Sullivan.
1.
It's their 6th meeting in a final. O'Sullivan's won 4 of the 5.
Three. 4.
Finished a little straighter on this black than he would have liked. We'll have to power this black in for position. And as so often is the case when you have to play a shot with excessive pace like that, it's difficult to control the cue ball perfectly. Don't think he's on the red to the right of the cue ball, but there may be a possible red past the brown, but that doesn't go either. You can see the pink's just in the way.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 11.
Amazing to think that Ding rocked up here on the first Saturday of the UK Championship and seriously considered pulling out. He had dizzy spells, he had a temperature on the Saturday morning. He said he was struggling to get out of bed. He thought to himself, well, I'll give it a go, because he loves this tournament. 4-2 down against Mark Allen, the man who deprived him of a 4th title in the final last year. Turned that around and the rest is history. What a week he's had. He's just beaten the player of the season, Judd Trump. Came through an epic against Mark Williams from 1 down with 2 to play. So he has thoroughly earned his place in this title match. What a scene. Every seat taken. Wonderful atmosphere. And a great week of snooker, which promises a terrific climax. Another good red from distance from O'Sullivan to get back in.
Yes, undoubtedly Ronnie seems to have settled quicker than Ding. A couple of positional errors, though, have meant that he hasn't made the frame-winning break he was intending to. But with the reds in wonderful possible positions as they are here, maybe he can go on to secure the first frame from this effort.
5.
Considering the overwhelming head-to-head advantage that O'Sullivan had coming into this final, I think it would be, well, it's fair to say he would be happier playing Ding than Judd Trump.
12.
Ding went a full decade without beating O'Sullivan, which amounted to 7 straight losses, but of course he put that right in a big way at the World Championship 2017, 13-10 in the quarterfinals. Nice recovery. Awkward black.
20. $21.
With the cue ball so close to the object ball there, Ronnie just couldn't quite control the degree of backspin on the cue ball. I think the cue ball's finished on the black spot it has.
28.
The red along the top cushion is a thin cut and is easily missed. There is an alternative red to the right centre, though.
$29.
Just
36.
needs one more red and colour, Ronnie O'Sullivan. That's a good pot. It's going to be on the blue.
Yes, Ding could still tie the frame with this blue, so O'Sullivan just thinking about position on what will be frame ball red. It's been a pretty solid start. Already a couple of eye-catching long pots from O'Sullivan.
.43.
Youngest ever winner of this title 30 years ago. Could today become the oldest winner. Celebrates his 48th birthday on Tuesday.
50. .51. .58. 59.
Ding yet to pot a ball, and Ronnie O'Sullivan will be keen to keep it that way. He doesn't want to allow Ding an opportunity to come to the table to get a feel of conditions.
.64. .65. .71. Ronnie O'Sullivan, 71 on the first
A break
round.
of 71 from Ronnie O'Sullivan, who has monopolised the table in the opening frame of the UK Championship final. The rocket is off and running. He leads Ding Junhui. The crowd to order. Big day for Rob. This is his first Triple Crown final.
One.
Brilliant. Superbly cued from Ding.
Yeah, fantastic pot this from Ding. I can only presume the red next to the black wasn't available, otherwise he couldn't have taken that risk. There you can see it is tied up, but the black still does go. Now, I've often extolled the virtues of Ding's extraordinarily good positional play. The cue ball and object ball are never too far apart from one another when Ding's at the table. That's why he's such a great break builder.
O'Sullivan told Rachel ahead of this final he thought Ding was the best break builder he's ever seen. That's the ultimate compliment from the man who's made in excess of 1,200 centuries in his
Thanks, Ding.
record-breaking career.
I think Ding's intention there was to just be a touch low on the black, to just nudge this red into play. And that's something he can do here.
.16.
I think there might have been a time when Ding was intimidated by playing O'Sullivan, and he wouldn't be the only player in that boat. But these days, I think he actually sees it as a challenge that he wants to embrace. He said this week that he wants to play the best because that makes him better.
22.
And he has won both of their previous UK Championship meetings.
Both Ding and Ronnie have had the odd scare along the way before reaching this final today. Particularly Ding in his quarter-final match with Mark Williams had to rally from 5-4 down. And Ronnie O'Sullivan had a real scare against Gloucester's Robert Milkins, who had some wonderful opportunities in their deciding frame, but just couldn't quite manage it. And Ronnie did get the better of him in the end.
Yes, in the case of Ding, the Williams victory was especially significant, I think. Remember, he was on the wrong end of that record-breaking frame, which relieved you of a record, Dom. 195 points in the single frame, 101.94. Ding lost it, and that could really have done his head in, but of course he turned it around from 4-5 down.
Yes, it was a 62.5-minute frame pretty much, and Ding was a few points behind on the colours. Later, Snooker got a lot of penalty points, and in the end, it looked like 30. A frame he couldn't lose, but he did. And it did affect him, I think, pretty much, because he lost the next frame as well and went 5-4 down as a result.
31.
But it was that comeback win that secured his place in the Masters, having dropped out of the top 16 because of Zhang Anda winning the International Championship. And that pushed him into the qualifiers, but as we know, Ding seems to be inspired when he gets that kind of wake-up call.
38.
When he made the World Final in 2016, he had to come through qualifying to get to the Crucible.
$39. $46. Yeah.
O'Sullivan's turn to warm his seat. Brilliant opening red from Ding to set up this chance to hit straight back. I think the point is that although Ding has drifted in and out of form over the last few years, that seems to be irrelevant when he arrives at the Barbican. He seems to save his very best snooker for this venue. He's obviously very comfortable here, enjoys a lot of support here. Quite apart from the tens of millions cheering him on back home.
47.
Very noticeable that they were very vocal for Ding last night. Of course, Judd Trump has his own legion of fans for the way he plays the game, but there was plenty of cheering when Ding got over the line last night.
54. $55.
Ding would like to play for the red closest to the black here in the opposite corner. Had the perfect angle on the black to run through for it, but he's just a little short of pace.
60.
Does still need a couple of reds and colours to secure this first frame, for Ding that is, to level this match up at 1-1.
$63.
It always looked as though it was travelling to the far jaw, so on the cusp of clinching the frame, it was just a red away after that pink from doing it. He's left the chance of a counter for O'Sullivan.
Yes, just shoved it, didn't he, just to the top jaw, and that probably was a psychological error more than anything else. And if Ronnie can capitalise on that error and somehow steal this frame, wow, what a body blow that would be for Ding. That could really affect him. And Ding, has to be said, will be just pinning his hopes on that awkward red near the left-hand side cushion here. Could be his only hope.
7.
This is where O'Sullivan was so effective yesterday against Vafai. He had plenty of chances after the interval, having got back to 2-all from 2-0 behind. Missed a couple of reds, missed a black, and each time O'Sullivan was able to step in and punish. And that was the difference, really.
14. 15. 22.
Difficult moments for the 3-times champion.
23.
Well, Ronnie could try to leave an angle on the red here below the pink spot to bring the other one into play. There are all sorts of ways of tackling that difficult red.
He produced a brilliant cannon to a red glued to the left side cushion yesterday, which won him
30.
the frame after Vafai had missed.
31.
This time not the connection he was looking for.
That could have been a little worse though for Ronnie. He can still pot the blue and perhaps leave a double on the red.
$36.
In all the way. And now one good positional shot away from what could be a very significant early steal for O'Sullivan.
$44.
Just wonder how tricky
46.
that pink could prove to be. It's a fairly acute angle into the right centre, but there's plenty of space around it to play for left centre or left corner.
49. $53.
Beautifully on the blue. He could play for the pink here into the right centre as long as he doesn't leave himself too straight on it.
$58. $64.
John Higgins-esque from O'Sullivan. That is a big steal. That is a very big moment early in the UK final. Ding Junhui made 63 and looked as though he was levelling up the first because Ding was going beautifully to level at 1-all. Great long red, lovely break of 63 on the cusp of clinching the frame. He missed the pink, and O'Sullivan stepped in with a cool clearance. And this is an early test of Ding's resilience. He's certainly shown plenty of it to get to this final, but that will sting. And the best way of recovering is to come up with something frame winning straight away in this third frame. Banish the memory of a frame he should have won. And he's got the chance to get back in.
One.
He's been prolific all week, 11 centuries coming into this final to O'Sullivan's 4.
Eight.
Ding looking closely at the red, but as you can see from that camera angle, it goes quite clearly.
Nine.
Not easy to
60.
maintain position on the black here from the angle he has on this red. May need just a little bit of fortune.
17.
Fortune like that.
$24. $25.
Ding began his love affair with this UK Championship when he was just
30.
18 years of age, 2005, defeating a rejuvenated Steve Davis in the final, the Barbican.
31.
2 more titles here since then, very nearly a third. They get a 4th last year when he led 6-1 against Mark Allen and ended up winning just 1 more frame. But of course, he avenged that loss in the first round from 4-2 behind. And he's never looked back. As close as it can be in a straight line without touching that red, given there's no space on its own
37.
spot.
38.
He was up very quickly. He knew
Junhui.
he'd overcut that black.
38.
Wow, Phil, that's an amazing miss, isn't it? He's just not psychologically settled, and I think it's as a result of that incredible and most impressive clearance Ronnie made to steal that second frame. It's just rather shocking. I think he was so surprised himself at missing the pink. And he's very, very concerned of how well Ronnie O'Sullivan has started this match with pots like that.
That was a terrific opening red. It wasn't easy, he made it look so. At that pace, at that angle.
8.
These great players, the true greats of the game, they identify weakness and they pounce on it. And Ding has already made 2 very significant errors early in this UK final. O'Sullivan looking to repeat the dose from frame 2.
60. 17.
Ronnie's looking so settled. You can see the tournament average shot times there. O'Sullivan at 18 seconds, Rob Milkins 19, which is pretty normal for him. Oh, that's worked out nicely. Promoted the red to the left centre. There's only a couple of slightly awkward reds here that could prevent Ronnie from winning the 3rd frame in succession.
$25. 30. 31. 37. 38.
He will need all 4 of the reds that remain. The 3 that remain now. 2 of them in slightly awkward spots.
$45. 46. 53.
This red to the right-hand centre pocket is thinner than it may appear.
$54.
And the angle on the blue here isn't perfect. He's going to have to power this in. So maybe just a glimmer here for Ding Junhui, because this
59.
red is tricky.
19 out of 22 for the tournament with the rest. Ronnie O'Sullivan. This is a big one. Oh, right in the middle. And that little nudge on the blue hasn't hurt. These are very painful moments for Ding Junhui. He's had gilt-edged chances
64.
to lead this final 2-1.
66.
Instead, he's going to be 3-0 adrift already. This match has only been going 33.5 minutes.
69.
But how sharp does Ronnie O'Sullivan look? It feels as though he's got better with each round. Clinical in the second half yesterday against Fafai. Clinical again today.
78.
His record in the Triple Crowns is unsurpassed. And he looks
84.
in the mood to further embellish it. Another brilliantly brutal clearance from Ronnie O'Sullivan. 91 this time. Ding Junhui missed a black off its spot, and he's been punished again. O'Sullivan furthers his lead. Three times champion looking for a record-breaking 8th. Ronnie O'Sullivan in clinical mood, and for Ding Junhui, it's not just the fact that he's lost the first 3 frames, it's the manner in which he's lost the last couple. Missed pink when he was 2 balls away from levelling at 1-all after a lovely break of 63.
Thank you.
Missed black when he was in
Ronnie O'Sullivan
to halve the deficit, but O'Sullivan quite sublime in the early running. I mentioned this is their 6th meeting in a major final. O'Sullivan having won 4 out of 5, and all 4 of those were won emphatically. He has a habit of saving his best for Ding on the biggest stage. Masters 10-3. 2007, the old Premier League final, 7-1, 2011. An amazing performance in 2014 in the Welsh Open final when O'Sullivan made a maximum break to win it, potting the final black left-handed. And most recently, the World Grand Prix final, 2018, which he won for the loss of only 3 frames. Ding's triumph back in 2006, the old Northern Ireland Open trophy. 9 frames to 6.
Ding could attempt this red if he wished, but I think his confidence has been severely knocked by the 2 straightforward misses in frames 2 and 3.
Cheers, Alice, thank you. Thanks, Ding. Thank you.
One positive for Ding, regardless of the outcome in today's final, is of course that he's back in the top 16 for the Masters, having slipped out of the 16 ahead of this tournament. Secured his spot courtesy of his win over Williams in the quarters.
What?
That's a really good pot once again. He's actually played some lovely snooker in this final. He's just paid a very heavy price for 2 errors that he has made.
Yes, and had it not been for those 2 errors, who knows,
Four.
Ding could have been quite comfortably 2-1 up himself here. The red just above the black would pot, but it's not straightforward to get onto, so I wouldn't be surprised to see Ding leave an angle here on blue or bolt colour to go into the
5.
pack of reds. No guarantee they'll split well though.
Ten.
Just didn't get into the meat of the reds there. Disappointment again for Ding.
Ding Junhui 10.
O'Sullivan has been relatively inactive this season. He's missed 4 ranking tournaments and pulled out of the Champion of Champions recently. But when he has turned up for the ranking events, he's got plenty of points. Mistake from O'Sullivan. But no damage done. Guaranteed to maintain his world #1 ranking with the demise of Trump last evening. Ronnie O'Sullivan. And going for his 40th ranking title. And his first since he won his record-equaling 7th world title. But that was a mistake. No damage.
Quite a useful safety that from Ronnie in many ways, because it's not easy for Ding to get the cue ball back to bulk here and play an effective safety.
O'Sullivan winning the first 3 frames in barely 35 minutes. A real shock to the system for Ding. He'll be thinking that he should have won 2 of them. One of snooker's great occasions.
Very well controlled from Ronnie O'Sullivan, playing that with right hand side. That's Very surprised Ding got down to play that so quickly. It should have been obvious that red would go towards that right corner. It would have been left on had it not been for the cannon from cue ball to yellow. And although that red will pop for Ding into the right corner, it's very awkward because cue ball's only an inch or so off that baulk cushion, and even if he does pot the red, I think the cue ball will be running into the top of the main bunch.
Very tough red, the double kiss, and he's left it for O'Sullivan.
One.
O'Sullivan made a mistake earlier in this frame. Everything ran safe. Ding has made one. The 7 times champ is back in. And so far, he's been deadly.
Seven. Eight.
I think most professional players would tell you that if you do miss the boat, if you don't take your opportunities, you do tend to suffer a poor run of the ball afterwards. Whether it's true, I don't know, but it does seem that way.
Equally, the player on top
50.
always seems to get the odd nudge here and there, just to make life even more difficult for their
60.
opponent.
$23. $24.
Oh, this is a key shot for Ronnie. Into the reds. Oh, how they split. Well, not too well.
30.
The red that's closest to the left centre is a very thin cutback. There is a red that will also cut into the left centre, just to the left of the cue ball, but it's a very acute angle. Don't think it's there.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 31.
On one of the tables from 20-odd years ago, that would have dropped, but there is virtually no nap at all on these superfine modern cloths, and it did not deviate from its path.
One.
So Ding gets another opportunity to minimise the damage of this first mini session of the final as we see that red again.
That was an excellent blue from Ding. He could not have felt particularly confident
6.
in playing it with the shots that he's missed before that have proved so costly.
7.
So much pressure on him now, though. Inevitably, he'll be thinking about the errors that he's made that have cost him frames. Has to try and block that out, but it's not easy. He knows he has to take this chance, and that just makes the break a bit more difficult than it would otherwise be.
40.
He's overrun the cue ball there quite a bit, so instead of playing a red to the right corner, he's got a thin cut back now.
15.
Controlled the cue ball well, but still work to do. He's still 6 points behind Ronnie O'Sullivan. Potting this red to the left centre will be a big help because the two reds then just above the black
22.
become far more accessible.
$23. $29. $30.
I don't think he's played the best positional shot there. He's a
37.
little straight on this red. Have to play it with more pace than he'd like to.
38.
Well played. So once again,
45.
within a few pots,
46.
belatedly securing his first frame of this UK Championship final. This red and another colour.
53. $54.
Relief for Ding Junhui. Finally, he nails his chance, and this has been
61.
an impressive break given the pressure he was under after O'Sullivan missed that tricky red to the left centre. He had to
64.
deliver this time, and he has done. Something to give him a bit of cheer going into the interval.
69. $71.
And he is cueing beautifully, as he's proved all week. He's taken a couple of big early knocks, but this should make him feel a whole lot better.
78.
Equally, he knows that those pots that he has missed have to be eliminated if he's to entertain thoughts
83.
of a fourth UK championship. Because O'Sullivan is in unforgiving mood. He's played superbly so far.
89.
A vital frame for Ding Junhui to win, and he won it in style with a break of 89. Ronnie O'Sullivan has produced some of his best snooker of the championship so far. He's been in clinical, ruthless mood. To steal 2 frames, he looked like losing.
And he fraction. See some of the frame scores there. That second frame was the key one, wasn't it? Ding missed that pink to the right centre when he looked set to level up at 1-all.
Another terrific pot, and this time he's held for the black. Wonderful potting from range from Ding. He's going for it. He's not going to take a backward step in his bid to get right back into this final.
40.
And after that miss pink, of course, it was the miss black into the left corner that cost him in the third frame. These are encouraging signs for Ding. 4-1 behind, having lost yet another tight frame.
9.
He's responded well.
$16. $17. $24.
Won the first of his 14 ranking titles as a wild card, beating the great Stephen Hendry in the process when he was just 18.
$25.
He's had to carry the hopes of a nation ever since. Scrutinised for his every shot, adored back home, but equally the pressure that he's had to deal with throughout his career to produce on the big occasion has been immense. It's been a difficult journey for him at times, but how well has he handled it? And he's emerged on the other side, still one of the top players in the game.
30.
Wonderful CV, just the World Championship that's missing.
Thank you.
But there's still time.
33.
He's still only 36.
$40. $41.
Ding's positional play remains absolutely faultless, really. majority of the balls that have cost him dearly have been rather simple misses, really, when in prime
48.
position.
How different the scoreboard might have
49.
looked had he taken those chances, but that's gone now. He can't change that. What he can do is get himself within a frame with one more to come in this session.
Go on, Ding, you're right. 56.
He's potted a couple of magnificent long balls early in this frame and then attacked the bunch to give himself the chance to win his second on the bounce.
57.
Yes, you're absolutely right, Phil. Some of the long pots we've seen from Ding have been nothing short of spectacular, really. He really is cueing magnificently. But he's just dealt himself a couple of severe psychological blows. Is the blue going to reach? Oh, my goodness.
I don't think Ding was sure. The crowd weren't sure. Just about
62.
had the weight to disappear. This red and another colour.
63.
Didn't hold back on frame ball, looking for position. It's not quite worked out,
69.
but there's only 67 remaining, so O'Sullivan needs one snooker as things stand. And he's not going to get the chance to play for them. Ding Junhui is showing real mettle here. 4-1 behind in the circumstances in which he lost 3 of those frames. Could really have laid him low, but he's come out fighting.
77.
And he's back in the mix.
78.
Yes, and now a 5-3 deficit is guaranteed at worst. He'll be gunning for 4 all. What a result that would be from 4-1 behind.
And he is cueing quite superbly. Long game, short game.
80.
He's looking $1 million. It was just those 2 errant pots that proved so expensive, and then of course lost a tight 5th frame which might have won, but he's not allowed himself to get down
86.
about that. He's just focused on what he can influence, what's ahead of him,
87.
not dwelt on what he can't.
$94. 95.
And now within a pot of the 12th century of the tournament. Wonderful. This final is coming to the boil. Ronnie O'Sullivan
102.
was outstanding before the interval in punishing Ding's mistakes. But now it's the 3-time champion's turn to show
105.
his class.
$109. $114.
Not just the break, but the intent from Ding. So impressive. He's not cowed by the prospect of trying to topple O'Sullivan in a big final here at the Barbican, and he's right back in contention. Back-to-back frames for Ding, a superb century.
62.
If Ding could make a winning clearance here, he'll be the best part of 300 points or more without reply from Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Who described him ahead of this final as the best break builder he's seen. Well, most people
Thanks, Ding.
would say O'Sullivan is, but when Ding
63.
is playing as he is right now, he is a joy to watch. And he's 2 balls away from 4 each.
Oh, don't tell me. Don't tell me he's gone behind the red.
70. Touching ball.
Would you believe it? Is it not on a red?
Yeah, touching ball, yeah.
The body language would suggest not, just clarifying with Rob Spencer that it is indeed a touching ball. Unbelievable, really. On such fine margins, can frames, matches, finals be won and lost. Gonna have to suck it up and play safe.
Thanks, Ding. Ding Junhui 7.
Yes, put in the black safe because he knows that Ronnie O'Sullivan will need it. 6 red, 6 pinks and all the colours.
The errors he'd made that saw him for 4 frames to 1 behind. He's won 3 on the bounce quite brilliantly, and it's set up perfect.